Thanks for coming back to join us for our Marketing Basics video series. So this will be part 3 of the third video on conducting research. In this section, we're going to be talking about doing a situation analysis of the competitors. To quickly recap the research framework that we proposed for integrated marketing plans, first we want you to look at the company, then we'll look at the competitors and the marketing environment variables, which is what this video will be about, and then understanding consumer behavior, and then finally translating that research into action. So let's get into that second part, doing a situation analysis of the competition and understanding some of those marketing environment variables. So when it comes to competition, we touched on some of this in the last video. You've got a company like Coke. They're doing a lot of marketing still, even though everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. Everybody's pretty much got an opinion about it, but they continue to do that because there is real competition in their world. And it's important to understand not just what their sales are of their Coke product, but understanding how are they gaining or losing market share to their competitors. That's really important because they may be one of the most successful brands in the world, but at the same time, you're seeing there's less consumption of carbonated beverages, soda. And so that's a real concern of Coke. When we're talking about doing a competitive research, a situation analysis of the competitors, they would look at them first as how are we doing against our direct competitors? So this would be Pepsi Cola. Understanding how much business they're getting versus Pepsi is helpful, not just to know their revenue, but to understand, are they gaining or losing market share? But actually, it was even more important in 2020 is thinking about how are they doing against indirect competitors. Instead of just seeing their competitive set as other cola, carbonated sodas, they can actually think, well, what if bottled water is now one of our indirect competitors? You're seeing a lot of younger consumers eschewing soda drinks and moving towards healthier options. That can be an indirect competitor as they're taking business away from Coca-Cola. So looking at those numbers would be very, very helpful in shaping your campaign. I think it's also important not to just understand how competitors are doing, but thinking about some of the real world uncontrollable elements, that marketing environment we talked about in the very first video. How do those shape your business? So is there any changes in uncontrollable, such as the economy? So if you think about the economic forecast, that could make a big difference. Right now, we're starting to see a recession occur in the United States. So when that happens, people have less disposable income. So all of a sudden, is Coca-Cola considered a necessity, or is it a special treat that maybe people will choose to purchase less of that? Are there political or regulatory changes that impact your brand? In the past few years, you've seen a number of cities and states pass special taxes on soda pop that will make a difference in the kind of sales that Coca-Cola is getting. And it could also shape the way that they do marketing, because there are some regulatory things that they might have to talk about exactly how many calories are in a Coke. Are there technological concerns that might impact the way that your product is sold or your service is provided? Think of software. If you're selling a software product, technology is required in order to use that product. And this also you want to think about also how technology impacts the way that we craft marketing messages. Not everybody in the world has easy access to consuming digital messages. So you want to really think about those kind of things, those that are outside of your control, but things that you can understand and you can work around. The final thing to consider in this competitive and marketing environment research perspective is, are you doing a local campaign versus like a national or global campaign? If you're doing something that's local, you're probably more focused on immediate results. You're doing what's called direct marketing. We want to get some direct results from this campaign. Versus if you're doing something that's more of like a national or global level, you're probably kind of doing some more like a branded campaign where you're trying to build brand equity. You're trying to imagine sales down the road, not just this quarter. So that's going to change a lot of the way that you approach your campaign design. All right, hopefully that gave you some good ideas to think about when you're doing a situation analysis for the competition, marketing environment variables, and setting up your promotional campaign. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you for joining.